Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're taking a super fascinating look at the world of aviation, but from a completely fresh perspective. We're going to dive into some incredible insights from Rob Kennedy. He's an educator, a classical musician, a corporate trainer, and an unapologetic aviation geek. This Explainer is actually based on one of 50 different articles in his brilliant Av Geek in Residence series, which is entirely dedicated to exploring the lesser-known jobs hidden right inside the aviation ecosystem.
So, let me ask you a simple question to get us started. When you think of aviation careers, who immediately pops into your head? If you're like most of us, you're probably picturing pilots in crisp uniforms, or maybe friendly flight attendants welcoming you aboard. If you dig a little deeper, you might think of mechanics or air traffic controllers. But I really want to challenge that preconceived notion right out of the gate. Because focusing only on those roles, it's literally like looking at the very tip of a massive iceberg.
All right, let's look at our roadmap for today. We're going to cover beyond pilots and airlines, the global aviation ecosystem, orientation before motivation, AI as your career co-pilot, and finally, exploring 50 aviation careers. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. Beyond pilots and airlines, rethinking the aviation industry.
Look, if you are navigating a recent layoff, going through a tough career transition, or just hunting for a fresh start, here's a crucial point you need to hear. Modern aviation is way bigger than just the airlines themselves. We aren't talking about a single company or a small cluster of commercial carriers here. It is an immense, interconnected ecosystem. And honestly, wrapping your head around that ecosystem, that's the master key. It opens career doors you literally never knew existed. Moving on to Section 2, the global aviation ecosystem, the hidden army behind every flight. Now think about what actually happens long before you ever step foot on a plane. It's a rapid-fire sequence of events. You've got people inspecting aircraft, fueling them up, planning the exact routes, loading cargo, and coordinating all that baggage. But that's not all. They are also updating complex software systems, constantly monitoring the weather, verifying strict safety procedures, and meticulously managing staffing and scheduling crews. Every single time an aircraft takes off, it depends on thousands of people pulling this off flawlessly.
And okay, here is the absolute best-kept secret about this whole ecosystem. A huge chunk of these vital professionals, they never actually work for an airline. No way. Instead, they're employed by manufacturers, building the parts, the cutting-edge tech firms writing the software, airport authorities managing the infrastructure, and logistics companies moving the freight. It is just this massive, hidden army of teamwork spanning completely different sectors, all culminating in a successful flight.
And because this global network is so huge, it welcomes people from incredibly diverse backgrounds. We're talking project managers, former teachers, IT pros, customer service specialists, logistics experts, electricians, mechanics, communications folks, and operations managers. Whatever your specific past experience is, I can almost guarantee there's a niche somewhere in this ecosystem that perfectly matches your skills.
Okay, Section 3, Orientation before motivation, navigating career transitions.
When job seekers are suddenly facing an unexpected career pivot, there's often a huge gap between what they get and what they actually need. Rob Kennedy points this out beautifully from his years as an educator and corporate trainer. Look, when layoffs happen, people usually get motivation, an inspiring speech or a well-meaning pep talk. But what they actually need first is orientation. They need to understand what skills they already possess, figure out which totally new industries might actually value those exact skills, and learn how to effectively present themselves to those new markets. So I really want you to take a second and actively ask yourself these two essential orientation questions. What skills do I already possess, and what opportunities have I completely overlooked? Seriously, sometimes just taking a moment to reflect on that or having one good conversation can completely flip the trajectory of your career. It shifts your mindset right out of discouragement and drops you straight into a world of possibility. Let's jump into Section 4, AI as your career co-pilot, modern tools for the job hunt.
Rob uses this totally fantastic metaphor that really puts things into perspective. See, he's been publishing online since way back in 1997, and he compares those early digital tools to a Model T Ford. Like, sure, they functioned, but man, they required a tremendous amount of manual effort. Modern AI tools, on the other hand, they're like a Bentley. They are powerful, luxurious, and incredibly fast. But, and here is the key catch, you still have to learn how to drive them. You are the one in the driver's seat of your career transition.
I love this part. Rob actually asked ChatGPT how it viewed their collaboration, and its response was incredibly meta and deeply insightful. It said, "Rob doesn't ask me what to think. He asks me to help him think."
He provides the mission, I help research, organize, challenge assumptions, the final decisions remain his. That is such a perfect way to look at it. AI isn't there to replace your human judgment, it is there to be your ultimate collaborative brainstorming partner.
So how exactly do you go about driving the Bentley? Well, you can use AI as this highly practical toolkit. You can use it to purposefully strengthen your LinkedIn profiles, hyper-tailor your resumes for these specific niche roles, or draft super thoughtful cover letters. You can use it to deeply research these hidden ecosystem employers, practice tough interview questions, and actively identify those transferable skills we were talking about earlier.
The absolute biggest takeaway here is beautifully simple. AI does not replace your judgment. It amplifies it. Think of these tools as amplifiers for your own unique expertise and experience. They just help you orient yourself in this massive market way faster than you ever could on your own.
And finally, Section 5, Exploring 50 Aviation Careers, the AV Geek in Residence Resources.
50. I really want to pause and emphasize that number. Like I mentioned at the top of the explainer, what we're talking about today is just scratching the surface. Rob Kennedy has already published over 50 detailed articles in his Av Geek in Residence series, and the whole series is completely dedicated to uncovering these lesser-known, hidden gem jobs that keep the aviation industry operating safely and efficiently every single day.
And he provides an incredible, comprehensive suite of resources for job seekers. Beyond the 50-plus detailed career articles, there's a continuously updated global jobs board featuring roles at airlines, contractors, logistics firms, and service providers worldwide. Plus, to make it super easy to digest, every single article is accessible via video and available as a podcast format, so you can literally learn about this massive ecosystem while you're commuting, going for a walk, or just hanging out at home.
As we wrap up today's explainer, if you remember nothing else, remember this fundamental truth. Careers, just like aviation itself, are ecosystems. Your next big opportunity, your next major career breakthrough, is very likely sitting right there in a place you've never even thought to look before. So I'm going to leave you with one final really powerful question from Rob's work. Who do you know that may need some orientation today? Seriously, think about it. Is it a former colleague dealing with a layoff? A friend who's desperate for a change? A family member? Or is it you? Share this perspective with them. Help them look past the obvious and into the ecosystem. All right, thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.